Hi, this is Karen Walby Solomon, and welcome to my podcast, Crushing On. Welcome to episode 12. Today on the episode, we have Inga Davids. Inga is my friend, and
Don't you mean your best friend?
Inga is my best friend, but best friend, as Mindy Carling says, or Mindy Lahiri in the Mindy Project, best friend is a tier, not a person. So, best friend can refer to up to from 10 to 15 people. It's got
10 to 15. Doesn't that take away the meaning of the word then?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, like if I have 50 friends and like 10 to 15 are best friends.
No, makes sense. Top tier.
But I'm
my top tier friend.
Probably like 5 people, but okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so today on the episode we have Inga. Inga she's a business person. She's all up in the corporate side of the world. She does conferences all over the world. She's a star, basically. But she's also the host of the upcoming podcast, Her Bold Story, where she talks to different women in business and in other areas of work about their lives, about where they got to the point they are at, and their advice for other people. The podcast is also edited by Rebecca. It's going to be released on the 8th of September. We'll provide more information in the show notes and also at the tail end of the show. So don't worry about jotting all that down. But Inga talks a bit about that, but she also talks about her obsession with reality shows. As long as we've known her, and Rebecca and I have known her for a good 17 years, she's always been into like the kind of shows that came on like late at night on MTV, which is now 90% of what MTV is now. But wow. Yeah, so between that and like documentaries and so the African reality show, she goes into detail about what she loves about it. And it was really interesting, and we had a lot of fun doing it. So hopefully you too will have a lot of fun listening to this.
Yeah.
But yeah, before we get to that, this has been a very tough weekend. We found out about the death of Chadwick Boseman, the actor who played T'Challa in Black Panther, amongst many other roles. I mean, somebody said in the last 4 years he played up to 10 roles, and during this time he was struggling with cancer, and through treatment he acted and he promoted, and he just did such an amazing job. And it's weird. I mean, I think we all, it's like a weird feeling we all go through where it's like you feel like you are mourning and missing somebody that you've never met. And a lot of the times it's because of what they meant to you and what their work has done in your life. I loved Black Panther. Anybody who knows me knows that, and I don't mean to say it to just to say it, but I was obsessed with that movie. And you know, it's not terribly original, the plot, but what it meant to see someone in a Disney Marvel movie speaking Xhosa, just, you know, celebrating South and African as a whole, like Pan-African traditions. I don't know. I doubt I would ever get that feeling again, even if they replicated, even if there's a Black Panther too. And Chadwick Boseman was such an advocate for promoting, you know, African cultures. He was an advocate for promoting why you should have a South African accent in the movie, why they should speak Xhosa, why, you know, it's just, and he just seemed like such a good human, lovely human being. I'm still sad, I feel, over Naya Rivera's death because of also what she meant as this Afro-Latina queer girl on Glee, and just, she was, I mean, I love Santana too, and just like this year just seems to be, we losing so much, especially people that were so important for representation for me and for other, you know, the young Black people, and the death of them so young as well.
Yes,
I mean, like, when you feel that they both, and I'm sure many other performers who we have lost this year, had so much to give still. But yeah, I'm so glad that we have Black Panther and all of these other films, and I'm so glad that one day I'll be able to show my children, my grandchildren, and explain to them what a special film it was for us. So yeah, I just wanted to share this. And I hope that his legacy will inspire more positive representation of Black people in mainstream media.
Mm.
And also locally, we can't move on from the podcast without mentioning the senseless murder of Nathaniel Julies in Eldorado Park this week, a disabled boy who was killed by the police. And it's just been it's so difficult to even try and understand this. I've been following the protests in Eldorado Park and been reading up as much as I can, and everything I read about just makes me even more emotional. This morning I
Mm.
read about Nathaniel's grandfather talking about how loved he was, how he was everyone's favorite. And to think that this boy, little boy, 16 years old, life was cut short
Mm.
because of something that doesn't even make sense. The police asking him question that he couldn't answer because he's disabled. Regardless of whether he's disabled or not, him not being able to answer a question is no reason for someone to be killed. We've heard the news that the police officers have been arrested for murder, but there's seriously something that needs to be changed. All of us that come from disadvantaged areas in this country knows how the police acts, how the police treats people, even their inability to take our situation seriously, even them not
Yeah.
considering the things that we go through, or not doing what they can to help us.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this wasn't a surprise for most of us. Like, yes, it was sad and it was horrible, but we know what our police are capable of. So something seriously needs to change. Yeah, my thoughts and prayers are with the Julie's family during this time. But for now, we wanted to share with you the interview that we did with Inga. We hope you enjoy it. And stay tuned for more information at the end of the episode. I realized, Inga, I was saying to somebody that you were going to be on the podcast, and I was like, I always refer to you as my best friend Inga. Like, not like Inga. It's not like I know like a lot of Ingas. But why do I do that? It's not like, oh no, I'm accountant Inga and my best friend Inga. It's like, unless I'm talking to my mommy, them, that's how I would describe it. And people are like, we know Inga. Like, we don't have to keep saying my best friend.
I guess it almost comes back to your thing that you and Rebecca were chatting about, the adjectives before the name, right? Clearly, that's my adjective or something, like best friend Inga. It's not the same letter, but that's the adjective.
But have you been keeping busy during quarantine?
Just working. Just like strange, but working and reading and adult coloring books, I guess. Randomly window shopping on the internet. You know, like ooh, that jacket looks so nice. But you're like, where will I wear this jacket? Nowhere. Psych. Close window. So that's pretty much what it's been. Just like moseying and trying to make the best of the situation, and then also putting in time so that 2020 is not a waste, and I do get through the things that I wanted to actually start with. And surprisingly, that has happened in a big way. So it's very exciting.
So you
And
guys
yourself?
me. I've been alright. Can't complain. Mostly just hustling and trying to survive. But I was gonna ask you guys like going out and stuff now during level 2?
We like limit ourselves. We don't really go out, but where we go out, it's really like outdoors. Haven't really gone to a mall in like 3 months, probably. Also, don't really go to Woolies anymore. Kind of order in, get groceries delivered. So I'm probably becoming a hermit. This does bother me because I'm not a hermit, but I've become very accustomed to not going out, which isn't a good place to be in. But yeah, I don't think we won't go out. I mean, we hope to come back to Cape Town in November and December.
I don't know how I'm feeling. I'm feeling like I am like 100% a hermit now. Like I'm scared to go outside. I went to Woods today and I was like, but I was kind of fine when I was there. But I saw this nice jacket, 600 rand. I was like, winter's almost over. When am I going to wear this lovely suede
winter.
jacket to? No, it's out of fashion by then. My mom picked her bag just before the end of quarantine. I mean, just before quarantine. And she was so excited about this new bag. It's just insane. So we always make fun of that bag.
Shame, man. But it's understandable. Your parents are old. It's and the house is full. You know, like if everybody's going out, everybody has a chance. So you've got to be careful, and being careful then comes down to let's just stay inside. It's okay. It's not great, but we do what we have to do to make sure that hopefully all of us can get through this, though. It's part of it.
But like I'm trying to open myself up to people that I know have been safe. So you know what I mean? Like people that you know have been safe, so you can maybe like go to the beach or go somewhere with them because you know that they've been safe. But I'm trying to avoid people that I know have been risky. That have been like visiting all through lockdown, that have been going out all the time. So it is like a fine line between trying to find that kind of balance.
No, 100%.
So what have you been watching and stuff?
Did you like my list? Did it make you laugh, Karen? Did you look at my list?
It was a very complex list. So I feel like
that is lies.
It was.
All I said was watched and watching or recently watched. How is that complicated?
No, what I'm saying is complex is what the stuff you were watching.
Oh.
And I think you need to talk about the stuff that you were watching because that list was wild.
I was actually talking to Rebecca. We chatted about this actually last week when we had our meeting about her bold story. And I was like, yo, Karen must ask me to come on the pod. She's been speaking about all this other stuff, but like reality shows is my thing. Like guilty.
Your words were trashy reality shows.
No, because you know why this is no surprise to me because whenever I would come to Inga, she would make me watch it stupid like Teen Moms. And like,
dude, I forgot about that.
I have I can handle most things. Like most CDs I can handle. But that stuff, I don't know what was going on. She was always watching it. And like she wouldn't like negotiate and be like, okay, we watch one episode, then we watch like a movie or watch something. She will watch like all the episodes that MTV had on in a row. And I had to sit there and watch it. So this is not surprising to me that she in her 30s is still.
But yeah, no. So Teen Mom, I don't know. I think it's probably like the sadness in stories that draws me to Teen Mom. Because number one, obviously as a teenager, we were told teenage pregnancy is not for you, babes. And then you watch the show because you're like, yo, let me see how somebody's done this, that their mommy and daddy told them not to do. And then they defied them. And then now they're like a bigger responsibility. I don't know, I guess the chaos like draws me in because I'm pretty much like a structured person. I probably do things like a lot by the book. So to watch something that is not by the book, so defiant, and also like you've kind of at a very young age, you've put this intense obstacle in front of you to deal with at like age of 16, you still a child, you're raising kids, that I find so interesting. And it's probably because my conversations that I have lately with like lots of friends like you ladies, it's a lot around like this deep conversations. I'm not a psychologist, but it's like the human aspect of a story intrigues me. And I'm just like, how do they overcome this? Like, and then also you have that thing where it's like two teenage boy and girl, but then now she's pregnant and now the baby daddy doesn't want anything to do with her. And all you sitting there like a mother, like, I told you so. It's just so fun because you get to do the I told you so as a viewer. I really, there's something obviously trashy about it. And it's a guilty pleasure to sit on your couch and do that. I
Do you not think that maybe it's because you're interested in the human experience that you watch it? Because yes, maybe some part of reality is scripted, but a lot of it, it's like, this is how people naturally react to things. This is, what happens in real people's lives. So that's why you sort of attracted. Do you think it's that?
Yeah, no, completely. And because I'm just like, but you can't be that silly though. Like Love Island. Seriously? After 3 days, you're telling me you love this man. After 3 days, you're like, oh no, new woman came into Love Island. Why are you looking at her? Well, because I only know you for 3 days. We probably only said 10 words to each other. I think it's that. It's like, can people really be this silly? this like off the cuff, this
think
like
that
unguarded.
if you're in a space with that person all the time, 24/7, do you think that you can, and you told that, you're supposed to be creating like love connections, and you in that space, and I mean, I don't think it's a matter of like love. I think it's more of like loyalty. Did you watch Love Island season 6?
I'm watching it now. We're actually on episode 10 on Showmax.
So you seen what's her name?
Shauna.
Shauna, yeah.
Justin and I are it's so funny. Connor with a G and Connor, original Connor.
Connor with a G, so what? I can't deal. I cannot deal. I was in love with Connor with a G.
But Shauna is something else, man. Like Callum just looks in and out.
Yes.
Shauna's like, hey, what you doing, babe?
And but I think with Shauna, it was more of like a loyalty thing, and she's obviously insecure.
100%.
Definitely insecure.
Yeah, but it's like, a little.
But it's like, I don't think she was in love with Callum. I just think she was like, Callum chose to be with her, so that he must be loyal to her. That's the way her mind worked.
I know, but that's the interesting thing, because everybody's like, I'm coupled up. Like, what? You coupled up for like the last 6 hours, babes. Like,
but
it's okay to uncouple.
But as original Connor, how jealous does he get whenever somebody picks Sophie? Why she liked him so much?
Oh, but she's so funny. I was actually laughing before I came on now about this. She's so funny. But yeah, I find Love Island, again, it's crazy, I guess, on how somebody can claim someone so quickly, almost forget about themselves as like, I am Inga. And as soon as this other person comes into their life, then they're like, we are together. And everything else doesn't matter. And if another woman looks at you, I'll have a word about it. Like, I for me, again, that's like a reality that is not mine. And I'm like, wow, somebody actually has a different way of looking at love, looking at relationships. It's like this inside view on something else. That is obviously completely funny to me. Because I'm like, but there's like 10 of them. How do you commit yourself to one person?
Did you watch Too Hot to Handle?
Of course I did. My yoni. Dude, I watched it all, man.
But like I was like Francesca and that guy, what's his name? Harry. I actually just couldn't. But what I liked about that show is that there was people that didn't couple up.
Correct.
So it's just like, I mean, I suppose with Love Island you have to couple up. But I mean, there was people that like, we never made any genuine connections with anybody, and it's okay.
Yeah. Too Hot to Handle was very interesting also. Yeah, I don't know why I have such an obsession with these things. Like I'll wait a while. It's not like I'm telling Netflix like, reminder, Love on the Spectrum or Too Hot to Handle. Let me know. It's not that. It's just like after a while, after watching like all the serious stuff that I watch, then I'm like, now we're going to go deep into like a binge-worthy session. Love Island.
That's when you sent me your list. What I found so interesting, and I think you should tell the listeners what was on your list. But what I found so interesting was that you like toggle from like really highbrow series and documentaries to like really lowbrow. And
I know, right? It's so much fun.
I don't judge. Like I'm like, people should watch it. Makes them happy. Like no problem. But I just found it so interesting how yours was like, there was no in the middle, man. There was no. Suits. There was
I told Justin. Actually, I was like, I wonder what Karen thinks of my list, because it's like from like Luther, Man Like Mobeen, Top Boy, and then I'm like Love Island, Stay Here, Chef's Table, Anthony Bourdain, and then I'm like Toughest World's Prisons, and like these other sorts of like I'm really into, I guess, what is that word called, like investigative BBC bodyguard sort of stuff. So I told Justin, I was like, I don't know what she gonna think, because it's a bit all over the place. But that's what I love. Like I enjoy watching. I think when I was in London, the BBC shows are amazing. I didn't know they were amazing until I was there. And then I watched Luther with Idris Elba, and that was like amazing. Then I watched Bodyguards. That was amazing. And now there's only one season, which I'm really gutted about because I'm waiting for season 2.
This is the one with Richard Madden. That one.
Karen, how long have you been friends with me? This is the question I dread on your show because everybody's like, oh, this actor. I'm like, girl, show me a picture. You know I don't know.
Game of Thrones. Is that the one from the guy from Game of Thrones? The bodyguard, the one that's on Netflix. Yes,
He was supposed to be was he supposed to be a James Bond option or something?
I think so, yes. But he was in Game of Thrones, yes.
Was he?
Yes, he was Rob Stark.
Wait, let me
Google on that phone of yours.
This guy. How does he look like Rob Stark?
Oh my gosh. Just Google Richard Madden.
Minus the beard and suddenly it's a new person.
Richard Madden, Rob Stark. Google that. Okay, you say, how long have you been friends with me? How long have you been friends with me that you don't trust me knowing actors and what they're in?
No, for sure. But I'm like, nah, that's a far reach. Maybe not.
Did Google tell you that?
Yeah. Now I see. But yeah, and then there's shows like Man Like Mobeen. I don't know. Have you watched that?
I haven't.
I doubt it because your list is so long already. But it's basically just like an older brother, and they live in like this probably middle class suburban area in Britain. But then the older brother has to take care of his younger sister, but the older brother is also like an ex-gang member. But it's really funny actually because he has these 2 other friends that are almost like straight and proper, and then he's like this rugged guy, but he's also trying to like raise his sister and make sure she gets to school and everything. But it's so funny. He's actually a comedian in the UK apparently. Yeah, but that's super funny. And on your point of Suits, we do watch Suits, but it got really boring after like season 5 probably.
I've been saying I've never seen Suits, so we can.
I don't understand this. I don't know if you get it, but it's like for somebody that watches that much series, how did you not watch Suits?
Yeah, and Meghan Markle is in it. Aren't you like a super fan?
I love Meghan Markle. But it's like I have this aversion to shows that have a lot of seasons that I need to watch. So my mom actually said she wants, because we just finished The Crown, and she was like, she wants to watch Suits next because she wants to see how Meghan acts. So
sweet.
So I mean, I'm sure that with the expert opinion can judge Meghan's acting and whether she should have stuck to it or left it.
But yeah, I like prison movies also. I don't know. It's probably because my growing up in a house where there's only women and you have a dad that doesn't have boys. When your dad's watching TV, he's either watching something with Jackie Chan or that's what we grew up on.
Probably because my dad was in prison and I was like, no, he was. Straight up a lie.
Oh, not at all.
Listeners.
No,
but he did do karate, and that.
Yes, exactly. So he's that's his vibe, though. Like we grew up, I guess, on Jackie Chan, and what's that guy, man, that did the splits between the trucks? Van Damme.
Oh, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yes, exactly. Like we grew up on movies like that, kind of as girls. Or for me, that's like my earliest recollection of movie stars. And then also it's kind of went from into boxing stuff. Yeah, I don't know. It's really all over the place, my movies, but I'm very much in the TV, whether it's a documentary or a trashy series, reality show, or just the world's toughest prisons. And it's so much fun because this guy, right, he goes to these different prisons all over the world. And then, but in every scene he goes, I've never seen this before. And then you're like, yeah, bruh, but you went to 100 prisons. It's all different. You're not going to see. It's not going to be the same. So it's one of those lines in the series that you just he's going to say it now. And then he says it. He's like, I've been to so many prisons before, but I've never seen this. You're like, no ways, really. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, and then also, one of the other films that I really enjoy watching that also from MTV, I think they had Girls Incarcerated. Don't tell me why. Also enjoyed that show, watching the chain gangs. I don't know. There's something about it. I don't know why, but there's literally something about it that I'm I need to understand this. But then you also saw I watched Bringing Down the House, watched 13th. 13th was more because Justin was like, Inga, we have to watch it. So I'm very blessed to have like a very wokish husband.
But going back to 13th,
yes,
I think that's an important documentary that anybody should watch.
so good. So good around the slave, like just how today's prison systems are basically modern slavery systems. It's such an eye opener, though. I really enjoyed that, and also that put me on that then Ava DuVernay. So that was really cool. But I don't know if you've seen that other new documentary on Netflix called, I think it's Immigration. It's about ICE in the States and how they literally go into the homes of immigrants that obviously don't have papers, and then they'll remove them and put them into like these detention centers. And then you hear about the stories of these dads that are like, ICE will come to a house and they'll call the people outside, but then these girls who are obviously like born in the States, but now you take my dad because he doesn't have papers, and you're just like, WTF. That is some scary stuff. And the fact that you're breaking up homes and things. I only watched one episode because I was like, oh, this is a lot to have like inside view of what's happening in terms of breaking up homes. Like, that's real. That's not scripted. That's not part of a storyline. And I was like, I'm not strong enough to watch something like that. But yeah, I mean, the documentaries on Netflix are really cool, actually.
Going back to reality and that kind of stuff. So what would you say are your favorite reality shows?
You know the Kardashians. It's my guilty pleasure. Love it, man. I don't know, like it started at my mom's house because she had DSTV when we were like in high school or like end of primary school, and then we go to my mom's house, and then if it was before Bold and the Beautiful and all the soapies, then we'd all be like on DSTV watching Kim Kardashian, you know, the Keeping Up with the Kardashians, where their makeup was still horrendous and with their like their 3-piece suit jacket over like their shirts and stuff was strange. But yeah, so that's kind of where it really started from, and I just really enjoy watching, again, number one. I mean, it's the unattainable. The Kardashians are so unattainable that you're like, you're just so intrigued by this life that you have no idea what is on the other side of the glass, that you're like, wow, what an interesting view. Even though you know it's completely scripted, they really put a good story together. But also I just like the way they talk, and I'm being very sarcastic, obviously. But it's so cool. And then also their fights are so petty, but like between sisters, but at the same time, if you have sisters, then you're like, yeah, like it's so funny because you know that scene, I don't know if you watched it, but obviously the scene where Kim Kardashian and Kim and Chloe, not Kim, what was the other one?
Courtney.
I say I like the show. Kim and Courtney, where they fight. Did you see that one? And then like the makeup smudges on Chloe's like walls and stuff. But I was like, yo, you know, like me and my sisters, I mean, yeah, we've had times where we like raise our voices and maybe like say some stuff. But yeah, why you gotta hit your sister, man? Like, where did you grow up? Like that. It's you just like, yo, again, I thought my life might have been on the verge of not being that great, but when you see somebody else's strife that is super, super rich and they've got all of this stuff going for them, you're like, we are all the same. Yes. You know, like there's that about the reality show that you just like, we're actually all the same. Kim Kardashian fighting there in a Gucci and a Prada's. Yeah, I'm just like Mr. Peep clothes and Zara, whatever. But you're like, cool, we all go through the same stuff, but you just have a lot of things that might make your life more comfortable. Yeah, but I love the Kardashians. There's something about them that I'm just like, ooh, I don't know what it is. It's probably also because they're kind of pretty. And there's also an enigma about them because you're like, but did you have plastic surgery in your buttocks? Like, was it a thing? Because you're like,
obviously.
No.
Yeah,
right?
Come on.
Yeah.
Kylie's got a totally different face to what she had like 5 years ago. Kim, every photo, I'm not Kim, Chloe. Every photo, she looks like a different person.
That's just contouring, ladies.
Yeah, contouring. Sure.
Oh my word, speaking about contouring, new show I actually watched last week was Glow Up. Have you watched this show?
No.
So both of you know I'm not big on makeup. Like I don't even know where things go. But I'll dabble. But I mean, it's really just going to be like
Dabble.
mascara. It's just going to be like mascara, maybe some beach brow pencil of Itsy. But now, Glow Up is a show completely dedicated to amazing makeup artists. And dude, Justin and I were into the show last week. We watched season 2 over like 2 days. It was just so amazing. Like, yes, I know they're makeup artists and influencers on Instagram, but there was actually, because these makeup artists are so talented, and there's this whole process that they go through, and there's obviously like the story around like, so some of the themes are like, tell us about a time or a song that really resonated with you and use the makeup to express the song. And you're like, oh, what are they going to come up? And then they come up with some cool stuff, and you're like, whoa, that's so cool. And then also we learned the phrase. So if you watch it, one of the judges, when you get something right, then she goes, ding dong, that was amazing. So cool.
So Inga, when you
Yeah.
watch series, do you see it, or like when you watch whatever, like I'm not going to say series, like documentaries, movies, do you see it as like, this is your time, like your me time, or is it like fillers, or how do you kind of describe your relation to it?
Good question. So yeah, series for me it's kind of a bit of everything that you just mentioned, in terms of sometimes I use it to de-stress after a long day by just switching it on, and there's this mindless droning noise to kind of pull me out of my funk. And then sometimes it's also just in the background also when I'm doing side project work. But I do enjoy TV. I think it's quite a nice way to unwind, to relax. And even though some of my series are pretty serious, obviously series are also super fun and funny, and they show you the good stuff of life, and it's a bit of escapism, which is nice. That's probably why I do enjoy lounging and binging. Yeah, series.
So what would you say you're passionate about?
I'm passionate about people, basically. I like to learn and listen to people. I like to observe people. I like to listen to their stories. I like them to talk more than me. Yeah, so I think for me, like, I do have a passion for wanting to build relationships, connections, to hear about other people's experiences, because I think in doing that, you kind of broaden your own mind. Again, it opens like another window into another context that you're not aware of. I think it's the quickest way kind of to learn about anything is if you can ask somebody the experience of whatever that is. So yeah, I think that's kind of my passion at a very high top level. It's just like people, relationships, learning from others and learning through others.
So what gave you the idea to start Her Bold Story?
Yeah, so for me, it's pretty much kind of that top level passion of mine, but then also the intriguing aspect around how I admire a lot of women for how they've navigated the workplace or their careers, or just particularly spaces that they've found themselves in. And that's kind of where Her Bold Story was birthed from. In terms of, I'm always intrigued to know how other women before me have done it, so that I can kind of circumnavigate my experiences, or even do my career better in a way, so that I can be better because they have kind of given me those aha moments or nuggets. It's kind of just like standing on the shoulders of giants, basically. And that's what it was, because for a long time I kept reading books when I was still quite junior in my career. A lot of Sheryl Sandberg, Ariane Huffington, just looking kind of for role models in books. And then, yeah, this past year, I was just coming to a space where I'm wanting to surround myself with more women. And I was like, well, actually, I know some phenomenal women, and I've heard about some phenomenal women. So why don't I just go straight to them and ask them if they want to share their story, so that more phenomenal women can learn through these experiences. And I think right now there's no like, podcasting is so accessible, especially like we're all in this data age, right? If we weren't before COVID, we'd rather like listen to a podcast maybe than pay for a book right now. So I think it's just more accessible for me to have these short, sharp conversations with some amazing woman, so that more women are, number one, made aware that there are these role models in South Africa and in the world, and they don't just come in books, but they're actually accessible. You can reach out to them, and they want to help you, and they want to like lift you up while they are rising as well. I think there's such a great message in that. And I've only come into this space in my career now. And I hope somebody through the podcast will basically come into the space sooner than what I did, in terms of being more intentional around looking for role models, not being afraid to ask them, like, can you share your story with me? Because I'm really intrigued. I've seen what you've done. Can you just tell me how you did it? I think that's basically what the podcast and what I've been doing. I'm saying, I've seen or I've read something in the newspaper or online. I'd love to tease this out so that more women can hear about it. I think it's amazing what you're doing. Will you share it with me and share it with others? So that's where I find myself now.
So what do you think is one of the biggest lessons you've learned during this time?
So much. There's a lot around like going for it. Like just go for it, I think, is the biggest thing. Like I enjoy walking outside of my comfort zone, but it's another thing to show someone else, like, I admire you, and I'm putting like my ultimate passion, my ultimate heart on the line and telling you I admire you and I want you to sit at the table and share your story, not just with me, but with others. I've never done that. So if anything, it's shown me that I can go for it. And for the most part, people are willing to share their story. Actually, people are willing. I think that's the other lesson. People are willing to share. You just have to ask.
But I think that's something that I've always admired about you, is that you are always willing to go for it. Like whether it's like submitting your paper to speak at the international conference, whether it's like going for a scholarship in another country, like you're always willing to go for it. But like what I want to know is like, is your handle of, how do you handle rejection? Because you've got to have a very good handle of it to be able to be willing to risk it time and time again.
For sure. Good question. I think one of the earliest memories that I have, that I remember my father told me, is like, look, there's always going to be somebody that's better than you, right? It's just how it's gonna be. And it probably came, that advice probably came off, or that comment probably came off of the back of me not getting something, me not getting an award, me not getting a prize, me not coming first, something to that effect. And when he told me that, that's like stuck with me for the longest time, because I think from that point of rejection and then that comment that came with it, I was like, okay, so there's always going to be somebody better than me, granted, but actually nothing stops me from then trying. I think it's that. And I think from there on, I knew there will always be somebody better than me, but nothing stops me from trying, because I have absolutely nothing to lose. And that's something also that came, I think, in the last like 6 years, around nothing ventured, nothing gained. Because if you don't try it, you're kind of letting yourself down just because you think you're not going to get it, but you didn't even try to get it. Like, how sad is that? Like, you didn't even try to get the thing that you wanted. And then, so obviously you're not going to get it because you didn't try. So who do you have to blame but yourself for not trying? So yeah, I think it's probably that. Like, there's a lot in me that I'm not afraid of rejection. I'm pretty much not afraid of failure either, because it's all part of the learning curve. So if you rejected me, right? And maybe it's also because we went to a girls' school, and like, you know, dealing with boys and rejection, it kind of comes with the territory of being a woman. So you kind of just like, I don't need to be liked by everybody, and that's okay. My worth is not attached to you liking me or not. I think there's that comes in play with like dealing with rejection. You just like, we didn't gel. It's okay. On to the next one. This is not the end of the road. And I think that's just a very important mindset to hold when you're wanting to do something, because you have to have so much confidence in your own idea. And though I say this, sometimes I don't have all the confidence in my own ideas. This is why I have friends like you who can at least cheer me on and be like, just keep going, or, you know, just a little bit more. And I think that's important on how to deal with rejection, so that when when you do come to a bump in the road, you at least know you tried, you gave it your best, and you can move on to the next thing or continue in the same path, but know more about how to make it more successful or fruitful going forward. I think, I don't like that. Yeah, rejection. I'm just like, I will smash it in its face. Like that will not stop me. Like that is my complete vibe. Like I'm just learn, man. Just be a lifelong learner. It's so important. Like rejection is part of the parcel of life. We can't be liked by everybody. Also, you know me, both of you know me. I don't got time to be liked by everybody. Because if everybody liked me, they're all gonna want my time. I don't got time for everybody. But like there's something about that, I guess, in me that I'm like, I can't be liked by everybody because I have to give my energy to everybody then. Something's got to give.
So what do you say, or I'm sure you probably get this question a lot, and I'm apologizing, but it's the first time you're going to get it from me. So who would you say are like your role models now, the people who you think helped shape you into the person you are today, other than your parents?
Penny Haynes. When I was in junior school, like Penny Haynes was all the rage, right? She was like an Olympian, a woman, super strong. She was just like breaking so many barriers, and she was also South African. And there was something about it that I loved that really just was like, this woman is so cool. Like she shows up every time consistently and she wins the medals. And obviously with all of that, there's a lot of hard work. And I think that sort of resonates with me in my value system. Like show up consistently, put in the hard work, and you can get a really good outcome. I think that was the message that stood out for me from her. Did you say 2?
I just said any amount. Okay, so you're going to go Penny.
Yeah, I think Penny Haynes is pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Like and then obviously, you said not my parents, but I'll give my sisters some credit. Both of them are extremely, extremely dedicated to their craft. Both of them have gone to Olympics and Junior Olympics. Both of them have sacrificed in some sort of way to get to where they want to be. And that again just shows me that dedication, hard work gets you to where you want to be. It provides a positive outcome. And I've seen how dedicated they can be to their craft and getting better and putting in time. Yeah, and for the longest time, I always looked at them and I was like, I don't know, when you think of greatness, then sometimes looking at an athlete is so easy because they go and practice, they put in an hour, 5 hours of energy into something so that the next time they can score 10 goals or run faster or whatever. And I think most people, for the longest time for me, I was like, so I'm not an athlete, I just go, like I'm a corporate person, right? Like that's my brand. My sisters are sports players. Inga's the corporate one. And but for the longest time that was like the thing, right? So Inga studies and corporate and the sisters are like sporty and like studious, like that. For the longest time that was them as well. And for me, I was like, but as a corporate person, like I don't put in a lot of time like I see my sisters doing. Like they were training during the week and on the weekends. On the weekends, Inga was watching 16 Pregnant at 16 and all my virtual reality shows. But where I see how it's come out is that you can't discount that reading a good book or watching a good documentary, I'm going to say it, or just having all our side projects that all of us have, that is us putting in the hours to be better at the craft. And for the longest time, I didn't see it like that because I thought, well, with my sisters, I know they're putting in the hours. And I almost negated the fact that I was also doing stuff to hone a craft in the same way. But yeah, they're pretty awesome.
Okay, I'm going to go back to like the frivolous questions now.
Yes. So I haven't heard you ask anybody those questions before.
I ask people the same questions every week, Inga. I actually make up a new list every week.
No, but
I don't phone it in.
I was like, what the hell? A role model. I thought this was a crashing on pod. I mean, I do crush on all of them, but still.
So, who would you say was your first celebrity crush?
Karen, again, you know we are friends for the longest time. Do you think I had a celebrity crush? I
was
can
like,
barely remember their names.
Who did you? No, but you must have liked somebody, man.
My first celebrity crush is probably Ricky Martin.
Oh my gosh. I was also, oh no. Flashbacks.
Because I had to like think about what was on my wall
Shake your
when I
bon
was like,
bon, shake your
dude,
bon.
living la vida loca. The
He's still
man was
quite cool,
doing the
though. I
thing.
like him.
Gosh.
I actually still like Ricky Martin. He seems like a cool guy. There's no scandal
Yeah,
around him. He's
exactly.
just like living his life.
She bangs. Exactly.
No, I do think I remember you liking Ricky Martin.
Dude, he was the best because he was so cool in grade 7. That was like when everybody like Ricky Martin, Justin Timberlake, Christina Aguilera came out with the CD. We had a garage party when I was in grade 7, and we only had these 3 CDs on rotation probably, because you also only had one CD player with one like CD holder. So you're like, guys, put on the next CD. Which one, Christina? And then you put on Christina, and then you choose your 2 songs.
Surely you
Genie in
had
a
like
bottle.
Missy Elliott. Like I'm
Yeah, that was
trying to think of my 13th birthday, and I was like, I go to DJ for my 13th birthday party.
Of course you did.
So this was like my 13th birthday party was a bit of a scandal. I invited like a lot of people from the grade, but I didn't invite my bully, who was at high school also with us. We won't mention names. I remember the song because the DJs phoned me before, and they were like, "What kind of music do you like?" And I was like, "I don't know." And then they asked me, "Do you like rap?" But at that time I was very much like a white girl, so I said no. And my one friend started crying at school because she said her favorite song has a little bit of rap in it. And I think it was Work It. She started crying because I told the DJ I don't like rap, and her favorite song had a little bit of rap in it. But the DJ, all the DJs did was they played like on that Windows, they had a Windows Media Player. They just made a
with the visualization.
So like they could still play the rap songs. They could just like if she requested a song, they'd just like put it into the playlist. So it wasn't like the end all of all things. But yeah, that's how I remember Work It. Because that girl was crying because her song had a little bit of rap in it.
I still saw the other day, speaking about music, I loved that. It was like a month ago when you posted on Instagram. What is your oldest CD or song? Inga comes out with like, I mean,
Clashing on Pot.
Wait, what?
She put down Brasse van die Kaap. I was like, surely that wasn't yours. It was like your daddy's.
No, literally, there were these songs because we still had the cassette, right? And then I distinctly recall that I would make up dances to Brasse proper. There was a cassette that I liked, and I would make up dances.
My first one was "Hit Me Baby One More Time."
Okay. Yeah, there we go. You even had the perfume.
Yeah, I had both perfumes, Curious and Fantasy.
Of course you did.
Yeah. That was still at the varsity, wasn't it? You had the perfumes. Just to bring out the age there. It was still at varsity. Rebecca was like, when you were 13?
That makes sense.
She was in varsity.
Okay, but I had the first perfume, Fantasy or whatever, or Curious. One of them was the first, and I had the first one, and then I upgraded to the second one, which I think is the fancy one, the pink bottle, because I had 2 bottles of that. Now, Inga, what would you say is your favorite thing your favorite show?
This is so difficult.
Okay, 3 favorite shows.
Okay. This I can work with. I don't wanna mess up my options.
I doubt any show is gonna be offended.
Serious business. Serious business this. I'm gonna go with Luther. Luther is amazing, pretty sinister, love it. This is so difficult, and I'm not going to choose Game of Thrones because everybody chooses Game of Thrones. I'll choose Anthony Bourdain though. So that's the show. That's the show. What was it called? But it's No Reservations. Parts Unknown. Yes, that one. So good. When he passed, I was like, my friend's gone. It was quite a thing. Like, it's so good though. I feel like I should choose a reality show because that really shows my breadth of series knowledge. A bit of sinister, bit of travel. We should probably end off with like a reality show. But Anthony Bourdain is kind of like a reality, right?
Oh.
Like a comedy is cool, but I guess the like Broad City for me is like comedy also. Like, but that's like crude comedy. I think that's my vibe. If it's going to be comedy, make it like sarcastic and crude. But then obviously we have like, what's that Phil Dunphy one? Modern Family. Like that never gets old. That's super funny. I want to go with the Kardashians.
Okay.
But we all know if you don't have DSTV, you're not really watching the Kardashians on a PC politically correct.
They are some. Oh. I think you can watch it on Showmax though.
There's all the episodes, baby girl. We actually forgot to speak about some really cool South African reality TV shows. Like, do you know I'm into this stuff? Like, you can't believe. Like, Finding the One. Have you watched that?
I have not. No.
Dude, what's that? It's so good. It's so fun. And then there was also, what's Dinner Date, right? Was it Dinner Date? The essay show?
First Date.
That your friend was... So good. So good. Dude, we forgot this segment of your podcast. We should have started with this.
I actually quite like Come Dine With Me South Africa as well.
Oh, dude, now we're getting the money. Yes. Come Dine With Me is the best. I can watch that. Like, again, Justin and I, this is what we do. We YouTube Come Dine With Me. We go, Come Dine With Me, full episodes. And then you see all the episodes and you watch all the episodes on YouTube. It's on YouTube. It must be.
Okay, I guess so. Illegally uploaded.
Yeah. It's on YouTube. It must be.
Dude, it hasn't restricted us. Because
usually YouTube is the African one.
No, and the UK one. And the Canadian one. So cool. Love it. And also, did you know they have Come Dine With Me couples edition? So there's 6 people and then there's 3 couples. Super cool.
Yeah. My friend keeps entering it. She still hasn't gotten in. I know she's like, but she keeps entering it. And, maybe one day, Lauren, maybe one day it will happen for her.
Come Dine With Me is such a good show. Like, that is the ultimate stress relief show. Because you just like, it's so funny. And the narrator, top. Like, you cannot get a better narrator.
But I also think that's what makes Love Island so good as well. The narrator.
I feel like the narration on Love Island is like lukewarm. I don't think it's like on par with Come Dine With Me. But again, it's that slapstick nonsense that I'm like, I can't.
Do you know what you should watch? Like, you should watch do you ever seen Sideman's videos on Instagram? I will link you to it after this. And I'll link in the show notes. But Sideman is like I think he's like a TV presenter, DJ, like personality in the UK, but he does like recaps of Love Island. But he when it came out there, and it's so funny. Like the way he's more like Come Dine With Me. But it's cool. Brilliant. The way he makes fun of them, and then he also like says it like how it is. But yeah, you were saying South African reality shows. Do you watch like the Bean Bonangs and that kind of stuff?
Yes, girl. Mogul. Pinky Gal.
Pinky.
That's my show. I didn't watch the show that came out like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I also haven't seen the documentary. Yeah, the year, Bonangs year, whatever.
Yes, I didn't see that one. And then also, I don't know, but you probably not. But La Sizwe. Wait, what is the name? No more Trickovancy. Yeah. Dude, I watched that on YouTube also. YouTube is like my other Netflix, basically. But it's so good. I like him. I like him a lot. I love what he's doing. Yeah, he pushes. He does what he loves to do. You can see he just enjoys making up a story and a storyline. And it's the funniest thing. So good. And he's so young. And it's so cool to see like just somebody who's clearly investing in themselves and what they most enjoy and loving it. Like he clearly enjoys to create. He loves creating content. He's amazing. I love him.
And Sumizi?
Yes, that's my other one. Soms. No, dude, I'm all in there. We even watched like, obviously the wedding was amazing. A lot of makeup. Just like, but a lot of money. Like, dude, I just have like a lot of appreciation for people. I mean, weddings are cool, right? And it's another fascination of mine. Like, Say Yes to the Dress was the other reality show. Cannot forget
that
Say
was Inga's
Yes
show.
to the Dress.
You know,
Don't
before
lie, you also
Inga's
liked it.
I still love it. I watch it all the time. And also, like, I still think that the UK one is the best dresses. But I like the personalities in the American and Canadian ones more. So that's like my kind of hot take on Say Yes.
Yeah.
But no, if I see Say Yes to the Dress on, I have to watch it. I love that show.
Yeah, it's so good. So good.
So I have to do like, not I have to, but I always do play those games like on social media where they're like, what's your favorite comedy? And I, without a doubt, always say Talladega Nights. Like, for me, there's no movie that has
Lol.
ever made me laugh as much as that movie. And like consistent, like I'll see a picture, I'll hear a phrase, and I will always laugh. But like thinking back on it, I'm like, how much of it is really the funniest movie I've ever seen? Or is it like funny in nostalgia because we constantly watched it? As in, like, you had like 3 DVDs. You probably had more, but you only played 3. You played that, Wedding Crashes, and I have
Your
some
Wedding
weird
Crashes are so cool.
I have weird feelings about Wedding Crashes. Like, there's a lot of
now.
moments that like angered
Problematic
me in
in
that
there.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like Talladega Nights, like it's just like a fun time all the way through. But what would you say is your favorite movie of all time?
I don't know. Like, I mean, coming back to your point of nostalgia, it is funny that we actually haven't touched on the Talladega years of our lives. So just as a disclaimer for everybody else listening, Rebecca and Karen are like, they are basically kindred spirits when it comes to comedy. And so at school, they would be laughing about, guys, did you watch the latest late night host? And I'd be like, yo, that sounds
Saturday
so
Night Live,
stupid.
you mean?
Yes,
I still like
exactly.
Conan.
Yeah.
SNL, exactly. And then at one point, I think we were sleeping over at Karen's house, and then the two of you were like, let's watch SNL. And I was like, what the hell is this? And sometimes when we got DSTV at one point in my house, and I tried to watch SNL, I was like, I don't get this comedy, man. I don't get it. But actually now as an adult, I'm like, yo, you guys were ahead of the curve, eh? Ahead of the curve. Because I'm all into this late
Tina
night.
Fey.
Dude, you guys exposed me to so much. I was like, I don't understand why they find these silly women so silly and funny. But they really are amazing, though.
But then again, like, I feel like I watched Baby Mama because you told me to watch it. Like, you were such a fan. Inga.
Oh, yeah, but that was funny. But I didn't know who those actresses were. You guys knew the actresses. I was just like, you're the storylines hilarious.
They were in Mean Girls, surely.
Karen, again. I'm watching for the storyline.
The comedy is just not okay.
I don't remember these actors. Game of Thrones, what?
Yeah. If there was ever a theme for this podcast, it's Inga doesn't know actors. She just knows show names.
I thought
Talladega was good, though.
For me, it's like, it's not the type of movie that you would think I would like, if that makes sense. It's not on brand. It's like a movie about a
bunch of dudes.
NASCAR.
Yeah.
White men doing NASCAR. It's really
But
not
the
my mind.
But the comedy was on brand, though. Like, in terms of, like, SNL skits.
Yeah, because they are
improv.
from SNL.
Yeah, like that was probably the intrigue, if anything. You're like, cool, you've seen these guys, let's watch it. So fun.
Yes,
I'm actually going to watch it right now. That's
I
Me
feel like
too.
I should also watch it now. Dude, Shake and Bake,
the
you.
show on Shake and Bake.
You. Oh, if you're not first, you're last. Boom.
I love that actor because I love the good wife. Like, that's actually, I answered wrong with Kevin. The Good Wife is actually probably my favorite show. Good Wife.
Yeah,
and
you're
Good
always
Fight.
mentioning that one.
Yeah, I fucking love those shows. He's in there and he's in both shows. And the actor that plays his father, Ricky Bobby's father, and the one that says, first you laugh, peyote. See you when you're grown up.
But wait, on another note, though, do you guys watch John Oliver? Last week tonight.
There's too much to watch. No, he's brilliant. He's brilliant. Like,
Justin used to ask, he's like, Inga, why you watch this? I'm like, dude, the way he explains a serious topic and he breaks it down and you get to have a laugh and you're like, the way this guy just did it, like mic drop. Like you're like, cool, I'm up to date on like latest current affairs. I'll go do some more reading also though. But the way he breaks it down is so good, and the jokes he uses to kind of like bring the point across is even better. And I think it's just because he's English and English people, I do like the humor, or his kind of humor at least.
No, but I think he also knows a lot, and like
he's well read.
I always think about his version of why beauty pageants are outdated. And there's a lot of ways that I thought, okay, these are outdated, but like there was things I didn't even think of that he brought up. So Rebecca, if you want to start with one, I suggest that one.
It's super addictive actually. Because you just like wait for it every Monday. You're like, wait, is it Monday or Tuesday? When does it come out on YouTube? I gotta get my fix.
Doesn't come out every
basically
day?
Nah. On YouTube it only comes out weekly.
It's a Friday. Yeah, it comes out on a Friday in America.
Yeah, but it's he's so good. And he speaks about cool topics. Like Karen said, like he'll speak about something like beauty pageants, and then he'll speak about coronavirus and conspiracy theories. Then he'll speak about like what's it called, voter suppression. He'll speak about like war in Iraq, like even the stuff that he was doing like years ago. So good. Check it out. Plug him, devs.
Plug him. Yeah, he has like millions of Emmys. But I also find it interesting that the most famous hosts in America right now is like John Oliver, James Corden, and Trevor Noah. None of them are American. But
it's true. Good point. It's really cool. Yeah. 2 cents about. I've finally joined your party of late night talk shows. Like 15 years later.
And like late night is dying. Well, there's some but there's like
true.
There's just a lot of them now, I think. Because Conan always jokes, and he's always like, yeah, I'm one of the only late nighters. And it's like 50. But Inga, thank you so much for
pleasure, man.
Like,
anytime. But you have to sign off. And that was my best friend, Inga.
And my best friend, Inga. Yeah.
Hyphenated.
Yeah, best friend, Inga. Yeah, and Rebecca, best friend.
Yes, exactly.
Rebecca, the one thing that, well, not the one thing, well, one of the things that Inga said that stuck with me since the interview was when she said her dad said to her, there's always going to be somebody that's better than you. And I don't know, it just like breathed new life into me this week. And the entire time I'm thinking like, I should actually try all the stuff that I wanted to try. It's
go for it.
Just because you're not going to be the best at something is no point to. It's like there's no reason not to. So for the listeners too, if you get anything from this, we just want to encourage you to go for it. Go for your dreams. Go for not even just your dreams. If you want to learn how to play the trombone, please go for it. If you want to learn how to crochet, go for it. If you want to learn
the trombone, your poor neighbors.
Learn how to play squash, go for it. But you can find Inga on Inga_Davids on Twitter, Inga J Davids on Instagram, and you can follow her upcoming podcast, Her Bold Story, which is launching on the 8th of September at Her Bold Story on Instagram. So there'll be more information there, and we will link to it in the show notes. All the information from all the TV shows and films and documentaries that she discussed is also in the show notes. We'll link you to exact page. You can find it on Showmax, on Netflix, and some of them on DSTV, so find your way. Me you can find at Karen Walby on Instagram and Karen Walbys with an S on Twitter. You can also follow my newsletter at Wild Streams. Also, the link will be in the show notes. It's just me rambling on, usually about entertainment stuff and things that have been on my mind during the week and my recommendations that I don't necessarily talk about on the show. But the podcast you can follow on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram now. We are at Crushing On Pod. You can find out more on our website, crushingonpod.com. Or you can email any feedback to crushingonpod@gmail.com. All episodes are edited and produced by Rebecca Barches. Don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It helps people find the episodes better. And subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Tune in next week. We have a great guest, interesting, lovely person who will keep you laughing and entertained for hours. So, yeah, tune in next week.